How do you feel about cliffhangers? Hardcover or paperbacks? Love triangles, yes or no? Question number 10. Favorite author? A book you dislike that everyone now seems to like. Hello my lovelies, welcome back. My name is Vidi for those of you who are new here. Today we are doing another book tag kind of video. I'm very excited. This video is inspired by another YouTube creator and they are Stories for Coffee. I do have my iPad here. I wrote down all the questions and I believe that they also got inspired by another video. But point aside, I have questions, I have notes. It'll be very fun to kind of reflect on these questions and even get to know myself more as a reader. So grab a drink, get cozy, and let's get started. So the first question, how many books is too many in a series? I am a sucker for series, right? I love a good series, but I like when they're completed, first and foremost. But for me, the sweet spot is 3 to 5. Anything above 5 feels like a big commitment, and mostly because sometimes they're not completed and sometimes it just feels like it could have been a spin-off or something like that. There are a few exceptions, like I believe Throne of Glass, if you count Assassin's Blade as well. I don't know how many books that is. Is it like 8? Something like that? I don't know. So there are a few exceptions, but a lot of the times for me, 3 is like the perfect number. 3 to 5 if I want a little bit of a longer series. Question number 2, how do you feel about cliffhangers? I have a love-hate relationship with cliffhangers, mostly because, again, these relate more to series. Normally, without a cliffhanger, I'm not really tempted to continue the series. I feel satisfied enough to just stop there unless I am extremely invested in the characters. So a cliffhanger does encourage me to read the next book. However, when I have a cliffhanger and I have to wait 1, 2, 3, 4 plus years for the next book, I die. I hate that so bad. This is why I prefer completed series, but lately I have been reading incomplete series and it's been driving me crazy because we will get some crazy cliffhangers. Another reason why I have a love-hate relationship with cliffhangers is because a lot of the times I'm not really into the book as much, but then those last 100 pages and the cliffhanger make me want to read the next book, and then I'm just hate reading at that point because I might not have liked the first book enough to continue the series. I have learned to give myself a breather, give myself a few days before jumping into the next book. If not, a lot of the times I skim through the book just to get a resolution. Again, love-hate relationship with cliffhangers. Question number 3, hardcover or paperbacks? I'm a big paperback girly. If you have been with me for a bit, you will know that I love a good floppy book, and paperbacks are just so much easier to carry around and to hold, less strain on my wrist. I do like a good hardcover if it's a special edition or from an author that I really like, but when it's a nice hardcover, not just the dust jacket and some sprayed edges, but like overall, even when you remove the dust jacket and it has some nice foiling or something like that, that is a good hardcover for me. But I will always prefer a paperback over a hardcover, especially if I am physically reading the book. Question number 4, love triangles, yes or no? Nope. Absolutely not. I do not like love triangles. I grew up in the prime of love triangles. Like every book growing up was a love triangle, and I hated that because I always end up liking the character that does not get with the main character, that's not like the strong couple, and it's so frustrating. The only time I like a love triangle is in a white shoes romance. Other than that, please do not give me a love triangle. I will probably not read it. If it says it's a love triangle in the synopsis, I will probably not read it. This is why I stray away from reading synopsis as well, because the book could be absolutely amazing, but there's a love triangle, I'm not going to get close to it. Again, there are some exceptions, white shoes being one of them, but yeah. Question number 5, the most recent book you couldn't finish. I haven't talked about this one because I haven't done my reading wrap yet, but I DNF'd Revival by Debbie Lynn recently. It's not that I didn't like it, it's just that it didn't catch my attention. I had to put it down. It was a good story so far, I just was not enjoying the pacing of it. That's what it is. It was the pacing. But I think it had a unique plot to it. It's a soft DNF. I might go back to it. I just was not in the mood when I was reading it. A book you're currently reading. I am currently reading King's Cage by Victoria Aveyard. This is the 3rd book in the Red Queen series, and I'm also listening to an audiobook right now. I actually just picked it up today, and that is, hold on, The House of My Mother by Sherry Frankie. Normally, I don't read a book and listen to a different book and read another book on my Kindle all at the same time because I can get confused sometimes about which book is which, especially if they're the same genre. But in this case, it became available on Libby and I wanted something to listen to, and I'm like, why not? It's a memoir. I'm reading a fantasy and I'm not reading anything on my Kindle right now, so it's okay. Question number 7, last book you recommended to someone. That That would be Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. As soon as I finished it, I texted my friend and I told her I would let her borrow it, and I have not given her my copy yet. I've seen her once and I forgot to take the book. Yeah, that was the last book I recommended. I've been recommending that book to everyone, but physically I'm just like,
you need to read this book. I will let you borrow this book next time I see you.
So I really have to remember to take it for our next book club meeting. Question number 8, oldest book you've read. This one I had to do a little bit of research because I have read a lot of classics since I did take some AP classes in high school, and some of them did become some favorites of mine. I think if we add plays, I did see that they mentioned a play and they mentioned Oedipus, and I technically read that play. I also read Othello by William Shakespeare. Those are technically the oldest pieces of work that I've read, but they're plays. If we're only counting novels, I would say Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. I can't remember if that was the oldest book that I've read from Jane Austen because I've read a few other Jane Austen books. I thought it was Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, but I think Jane Austen actually was writing beforehand. I don't know. Publication dates are a little bit iffy. If it's not Sense and Sensibility, then it might be Frankenstein. I'm pretty sure Sense and Sensibility came out first though. It was really hard to have to like look up and reference and make sure that the publication dates were correct. Newest book you've read. That would be We Are All Guilty Here by Karen Slaughter. That was the newest release that I've picked up that I believe got released in August. Question number 10, favorite author. Oof, this one was hard because I have a lot of authors that I enjoy reading. I don't feel like I have a top favorite, so I have a list. Okay. I'm trying to incorporate different genres here, okay? These are like my true and tried authors. First and foremost, Jane Austen. That was like the introduction of classic literature for me. I know, cliche, but what can I say? I love a good Jane Austen novel. Abby Jimenez. I have mentioned this author many times. That is an auto-buy read author for me. Taylor Jenkins Reid, another auto-buy author. Karen Slaughter. That is, once again, another auto-buy author. These are more recent authors. And then lastly, I did not realize how much I read from this author, but I really enjoyed these books. Ursa Dax. I will read anything Ursa Dax. A variety of different authors, right? We got thrillers, we got romance, we got sci-fi romance, we have literary fiction, and we have classics. If you had asked me this question when I was younger, I would have said Cassandra Clare because I loved the Mortal Instruments series when I was a teenager, and Cassandra Clare was right up there. But I have not read any Cassandra Clare books since my high school days, so I would need to revisit those books to see if I still really enjoy that author. Same goes for any of my favorite authors from when I was in high school. I'm trying to revisit those books. I think we're in question 11, which is buying books or borrowing books. I definitely love to buy a book. I love having my own physical copy of things, and this is mostly because growing up I did not have the luxury to buy books like that. I had very few books and my friend would let me borrow her books, or I would go to the library all the time. So now that I'm an adult and I have adult money and I have a little bit of extra money, I do like to spend on books. That is my chosen hobby, even when it's really expensive sometimes. I do like to borrow a book now and then when I'm not sure if I'm going to enjoy it, but I like to buy a book. I lost count of the questions, so next question. A book you dislike that everyone now seems to like. Magnolia Parks. I disliked that book so much. I unhauled that copy that I had, donated it to a little library, and I just don't want to see that universe again. I did listen to the audiobook for Daisy Hates, and I really did like Daisy Hates' story, but I'm not willing to put myself through reading more of Magnolia, and I forget the guy's name, to read the continuation of Daisy Hates' story. Maybe one day I'll see if I can either get it from the library or listen to it on audiobook again, but at the moment I do not at all like that book or that world. And that one's very split. You either like that book or you don't. I haven't seen people who are like in between. Next question, bookmarks or dog ears? Bookmarks. If you asked me this again when I was in high school, I would dog ear every book. And this was mostly because I didn't have any bookmarks available. I would use whatever I could find, and if I couldn't, I would just fold the page. I'm assuming that's what dog ear means. But for sure, bookmarks. I love having bookmarks. I don't really like damaging my books on purpose. I cringe at my younger self for doing that to the books that were not mine as well, that I borrowed. A book you can always reread. For sure, Emma by Jane Austen. I read it very often. I didn't read it this year, surprisingly. I normally read it during the spring, but Emma is definitely one of those books that I love. The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. I believe that's how you say the last name. Another one of those books that I've read multiple times, and I feel like it's one of those books that you pick it up when it's meant to be picked up. I don't know if that makes sense. It's a feeling. And then I've only read it twice so far, but I feel like it's another book I could possibly reread. Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. I've enjoyed both times that I've read it. And then last one is not really a book. It's a manga, and that's Fruits Basket. I don't know who the illustrator author is. By Natsuki Takaya. I hope I said that right. I read and watch. I read the manga and watch that anime once a year. So yeah, we're adding that. Next question. Can you read while hearing music? Yes. Right now, I will put some piano or some lo-fi sometimes and I'll read. But back in high school, I used to listen to any kind of music while reading. It helped set the mood for whatever it was that I was reading. I really like it. And there are a lot of songs that I associate to different books because of that. But at least now, I can listen to anything. Sometimes my boyfriend will be playing some EDM in the background or some other kind of music in the background, and I just end up tuning it out. So that's why I'll listen to like piano or lo-fi. Next question, one point of view or multiple point of views? I like a one point of view for sure, because I like the mystery of the book. When you have a lot of multiple points of views, sometimes the mystery is not there. I feel like it just makes the book a little bit more interesting. But if we're doing multiple point of views, I like it in third person, just because then I'm not seeing straight into their thoughts. It allows you to see it from a third person point of view, if that makes sense. I don't know how to explain it. One of the ones that comes up to mind is like Cassandra Clare. I know that for a fact she writes in a third point of view, or she used to. I don't know about now, but she used to write in a third point of view with multiple point of views, and I kind of like that because then you're following the main character, but then you can also see other characters' reactions throughout the story. Next question, do you read a book in one sitting or in multiple days? It depends on the book. I usually take multiple days, but if I am in the mood of binging a book, usually this tends to be thrillers or romance books, I can do it in one sitting, but definitely multiple days. I don't have the time or energy to pull all-nighters like I used to. And then the last question is, who do you tag? But I'm kind of shy, so I'm not gonna tag anyone. That's kind of it. Those were all the questions. I think next time I might do a part 2 and kind of like look at different questions that I can answer, mostly regarding like rating and spice and genres and stuff like that. But this was fun. I really liked answering these questions. Like I mentioned, it definitely made me reflect because there's a point of my life where I used to read a lot. That was before college. And then college happened, and then after college, I started picking up books again. Very different behaviors because one of them I was a child and another one I'm an adult. I really like reflecting. But yeah, that's kind of it. If you would like to answer these questions, leave them down in the comments below. I'm very curious to see what your answers are. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't done so already and you would like to, please subscribe. I usually make book content, and now and then I make some lifestyle vlogs. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a beautiful day, and I will see y'all next time. Bye!